Over there. Hello, hello, hello. All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So let's smooth out those rough roads. They, the hearing aids I have, apparently the audio test didn't work right. So because they have an audiologist that you can, email, right? And I sent them my hearing test, but there's no way for them to edit it, and that's the shortcoming. It's probably not that difficult for what's something saying. Something was in my headphones. That's something. I got to turn my Wi-Fi off. All right, the connection should be back on. So there's no way for them to go in and edit it. So the future, I'm sure, of over the counter hearing aids is going to be a dual system, right? Right, their text can edit. You can send in a hearing test and they can download it. That's what they need to do, so they can have both the hearing test. So I called this one company this morning and I'm like, "Do you have the capability, like an EQ, to edit the frequencies?" And they're like, "No, it's just a hearing test." So one of the other companies was smart and they put an EQ in there. So if something's a little bit off, it can be adjusted. But what it should do is it should be both capabilities, and of course, it's not that difficult, right? Thank you, Larry. Well, it just got colder. The sun was out, and it just went in. Ugh. So they have to, do a little bit more work. I mean, they're great, essentially, for what I'm saying. Well, that's a nice car. Somebody driving a new car here. They got the price. Up to 2023 Toyota Crown Platinum. It looks nice. It doesn't have a price on it. Wait, no, it doesn't. Nissan of Olathe. Nice looking car, though. So I have some appointments today with some, real hearing aid companies. Somebody that sells them. It's just, it's really aggravating. And no wonder my brother went. Like, my brother's hearing wasn't that bad, and he went off to Costco and bought one years ago. But he's got this attitude where I'm experiencing something similar to him. Yeah, I'm like, no, it's a little bit more technical. Well, the hearing aid person said that the hearing in the app was worse than the hearing on my hearing tests. So, like, I boloed the app hearing test, I guess. Right. Well, I started retaking it earlier, and I just said, I'm probably not keeping this hearing aid. I'm not going to spend that much time with it. Right. So it looks like Amazon's clamping down on returns, but they're missing packages and everything. But, it's kind of weird. Well, it'll probably. I don't think they're going to save money in the end, because I think they're going to lose business. Right. Right. Well, because it used to be easy to return. Again, I'm not about people ripping off Amazon, but it's just, the idea is this. Before, years ago, it would be like a little bit from this place, a little bit from that place, and then Amazon. So now they're seeing an increased return, but they're seeing an increased focus on buying from Amazon. Correct. Yeah, I probably missed my cue. I should have moved to Kansas City like 2011 or something, 12. It probably would have been better for me. Actually, I probably shouldn't even be here, to tell you the truth. It could be the allergies that did this to me. I don't know. And the sinuses. But it could have been tight tissues. Well, I was trying to figure out why my highs were so high in my app, in my hearing aid. Well, it's because the hearing test is screwed up. When I started retaking it, I noticed that I was missing certain sounds. So again, I found a hearing aid sales place, and she was able to get me a quote on the hearing aid that I wanted. And it's kind of like my out of pocket is $600 less. Than would be like online. But there's certain perks and things that, by the time I factor in all, like the one person has a 4-year extended warranty, and at one time, you can claim that you lost them or they were stolen or whatever, which is really important, Right. I mean, it's only once, and there's like a deductible, but still, right. So it's important also to pay attention to the deductibles. Some people have like $150 deductible, and some people have like a $300 deductible. One even has a $400. But the one salesperson, I said, it says $100 per hearing aid for an extended warranty. So I guess it's just another year. Right. Trying to attract people that have insurance, but they don't take insurance. Yeah, actually, they told me before that last year, one of the companies told me last year, Blue Cross Blue Shield used to reimburse them online, and then they changed it. So every time I tell my brother some of the information, he goes, "Oh, they're good salespeople." I'm like, okay, like they're all lying to me. Like if I don't go to Costco and buy one of the ones he wants me to buy, then I failed at buying a hearing aid. That's pretty much where I think we are. And like when I tried to say, look, this is a little bit more serious need for a hearing aid, I'm not, again, hearing aids are designed for certain types of hearing loss. He goes, "Oh, you're just believing what they told you." And I said, "Look, I did research. I'm reading, and but again, if I go into my ENT right away and buy one, it'd be like $5,000-$6,000." Right. So I don't know how this one's going to work out online that I'm purchasing. Now this is where there's conflict. Because Amazon doesn't want you to return it, but every one of the hearing aids says... So actually, Amazon has to work this out. Because it's a special situation where it's a money-back guarantee for 40-day trial period or something. So again, I don't know if I'm going to return it to Amazon or I'm going to return it to the company. Right? I guess I have to return it to Amazon. So Amazon has to work out the hearing aid issue because there's like a trial period. You actually get to try them for a period of time, and that the Amazon account doesn't reflect that. Oh. So I'm not sure how it would all work out over time. Yeah, their spirits are very active today. I don't know what's going on. I guess because I was with the LDS, it gets a little crazy. So what I noticed on the hearing aids, if you use the Bluetooth, it zaps the power. Right? I'm not sure. The one I'm looking at, like the expensive one. Oh, I purchased a different brand on Amazon. These are probably going to have to go back. There's no way to adjust them once you take the hearing test, and my hearing test was off. Yeah. So again, the best of both worlds would be a hearing test and the capability to program it. Because essentially they wouldn't need an audiologist to program it. They just need somebody that knows how to program it from a hearing test, right? Which is pretty simple. Like, not really deep at it, but just whatever the hearing test reads, you put it in. Right. This is horrible. That's I don't know if my hearing got worse too. I mean, there's a chance that happened because I couldn't heal right away. Right. I just keep interfering. I got to bunk them out. What's going to happen is if you keep trying to interfere in people's lives, oh, well, this is amazing here. If you keep interfering in people's lives, the system's going to put you all out. Well, because at this point, you caused hearing loss already. Again, I think you're all out anyway. Oh, because the whole Trump administration thing. He's not going to stay in power. I doubt, and they're not going to stay. Republicans are not going to stay in power. Well, what do you think's going to happen? I mean, the last Biden administration is probably going to look like child's play, right? That's why you don't find a lot of senators or getting too verbal about things. There's like an inner circle, and that's about it. Larry. Trying to figure what's bouncing around there, making that sound. Well, because they don't want to be involved in it. They don't want to have that risk because they probably don't foresee it going the way that it's going. Well, I mean, they're panicking because I'm chatting with the LDS church, and they're trying to like fear me from it, and I'm not reacting to it. How you doing? So they're all freaking out at this point. Yeah, a lot of what they're doing is just willing things down, putting spells on their victims and willing things down, but there is a psychological component. So I couldn't get to my magnesium oil baths or my Epsom salt baths, and I think that's what pushed this over the edge. Right. No, they probably were supposed to stay away from me 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I mean, this is not something that's normal. I'm just going to keep moving them away. Well, eventually you'll be put out of the system. I really believe Elon and Trump are out of the system because, I mean, they're not getting any smart cues. We agree. So where I'm walking, I don't know if it's going to be happenstance, Satanstance, but one of my socks, looks like one of my socks is sitting here. Yeah, they've done that before. Like the route that I walk, they'll dump something from my apartment. Yeah, they're insane. Absolutely insane. Should have been put in prison or committed to an insane asylum years ago. Well, again, the majority of judges aren't ruling in favor of the administration. They're merely ruling certain decisions, right, based upon certain forms of law. So it isn't like uh, that they're winning anything. It's just they're not as beat up as they were. But it's still, I mean, like the idea that they took it out of, they reversed certain findings, right, like the deadline for Monday. And, well, yeah, we won, but you didn't win because the court ruled against your idea that you don't have to do anything but deport them and that it requires no judicial oversight. Yeah, they're freaking out because they're trying to fear me of speaking to the LDS people, and it's not working. And they're willing dysfunction in the relationship. They do stay away, and my left would have picked up. I'd have been in the right. Simple. Whew. So it would have been nice if, they could have just backed off a little bit and let me live a real life. But hey, they don't want that. I guess they get their way. Again, getting your way here on this planet isn't necessarily a good thing. What I think they were trying to get out of the other day, and I might be wrong, it could just be weird where they handed it to the wrong person. I don't know why somebody would take my package and say, believe it was theirs, but they said they handed it to me, some paper towels. Now, paper towels is something that they attack. Right. So, that's the first indication. And then, you know, malfunction of my camera system and my neighbor's camera system is the next indication. They're just sitting there all day focusing on me. Meanwhile, all the criminals are living great lives. The fact is, they might be working for the criminals. Well, at a certain point, my health went completely south. I can't tell you exactly what happened, but as soon as I tried to schedule that surgery, I got sick. My gosh. Mm. Again, this medical expenses is starting to get expensive. Apparently, they're going to stop importation of medicine uh, or limit that with tariffs. Yes and no. I mean, I don't know what, people don't have money. I'm trying not to credit Biden, but Biden did work to reduce the price of medicines. Well, the copays will probably go up. Um, Uncovered medicines. So I'm not sure what you all are trying to do by doing that. I mean, you want to U.S. made medicines, but again, we just came off of an inflation festival. I'm just not sure what you all think, what's going to happen on the other side of all of that. People have to suffer because why? America will be great if our people are poor. I don't get it. Well, the scenario you're creating is exactly what happened under the Biden administration, but maybe a different mechanism, and maybe actually worse. Well, you're going to increase wages. Biden increased wages, didn't he? But you're going to cause inflation, and you're not. There's no way you know how far the inflation is going to go. I'm just giving you a heads up. I don't think what you're all seeing. I mean, quite honestly, I think you're all insane. I really do. I don't see how you are calculating what you're calculating. I don't even think the rich is going to get richer. I mean, yeah, people that are uber rich are obviously getting richer, and that keeps happening. But I don't even think, like small business people are, I mean, small businesses are closing. Oh, jeez. No, you're like, it's going to be like Biden to the 10th power or something. Well, because if you're increasing, you're saying you're going to bring increasing wages, but you're saying what? The prices are going to go up. Isn't that what you were going to stop? I mean, somebody has to tell them this. They're insane. Correct. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you're talking about people on Medicare. What do you think is going to happen to people on Medicare when you increase pharmaceutical prices and people on Medicare? I mean, I got to say something. I got to try to wake you up before you commit Harry Carey. Well, because you're what you're saying is that there's going to be an increase in wages, but there's going to be inflation first. It's exactly what happened under Biden. So I'm not sure what you think you're doing. Correct. I mean, we're at that point now. We've reached that inflection point where you all are saying that you're going to have the same economy, but we're going to be stronger for it. Same thing Biden said. So you're going to trim what the government's spending because that's why we have inflation. I mean, that's what you said. But we're still going to have inflation because we're going to be stronger for it. Now, I speak about a certain level of American self sufficiency. Right? But if we do it right, we won't be at war with the world, and the world won't be at war with us. Right? So, again, if we take our hands off other people's economies a little bit, so you think they're going to negotiate? At what level? I mean, remember, we're the ones with the deficit. Right? I have no idea if China has a deficit or not. I guess they don't. Well, it's like charging into a war and not being able to outgun your opponent. Some of them just, some of those countries could probably just sit on their wealth and laugh. I mean, yeah, they won't have as much money, but we'll crash faster than they will. Again, the idea of the Ukraine and Russian war. Putin knows if he waits, he might actually outlast them. I'm thinking maybe I should be inside. Like a lot of people are inside; they're not out. Maybe it's the allergens, right? Maybe I should just stay inside and just go out a little bit. Maybe I'll get weller. I definitely shouldn't have moved from here last year, and I just couldn't get there. Again, they're in my life every day, trying to destroy it. But I mean, that's what you're saying. You're saying there's going to be inflation. Oh, Biden inflation or Trump inflation? But it doesn't work out. You're doing the same thing that Biden did, but a different mechanism. In fact, the market was good, actually great at times. So I don't know where you think the votes are going to come from. So before, the market stayed up all through that inflation, all through that. All through the inflation and the wages going up. Okay. Now the market kind of went down, recovered a little. Right. Well, we're the one with the deficit. We're the one with the struggling economy. Our economy can only take so much, right? Well, the answer, like I said, is balanced. Well, we don't need everything made in the United States. Correct. I'm really sorry. We just select some key items that we want made in the United States, that would benefit our markets. Well, because eventually every single business in the United States will be impacted by inflation because they build out of foreign parts a lot of times. We make the parts here. That's still going to be more expensive. Very sorry, sir. That's what they're saying. Oh, Bidenflation, Trumpiflation. I mean, the average person is not going to see it any different. And of course, now you have to worry about some of the people that voted for you that had money, and the government employees that voted for you because they had a job. Right. Oh my God, sir. But again, you're just not going to get anywhere. At a certain point, everything stops. Curricular. Because you're going to lose like every office you can lose. And then the courts are just starting to rule. Right. Now, the majority of the rulings are the idea that damage was not proven or there was no standing for that particular entity to claim damage. Right. So they didn't say that the Trump administration was correct. Thank you, Larry. They simply said there's no evidence for those restraining orders and initial rulings and deadlines. Now, the guy that got sent to El Salvador, well, the idea is the idea of just simply proving they're a gang member isn't where the Supreme Court left it. Right. The Supreme Court says you have to prove several factors that applies to them in some way. So the court's already ruled that the idea that it's foreign relations, right, doesn't pass muster because of habeas corpus. And in fact, you're incarcerating them in that foreign nation, or somebody is. Thank you, Larry. So I just don't think that they're thinking, right? Or maybe they don't care. Again, they got money and they're living a better life than most people. Well, But what a tangled web that is weaving. You've already articulated that it's going to be inflation, but we'll be stronger for it. Something that Biden said, right? That we're going to be stronger. The wages are higher. We're working on infrastructure, and the markets were up. So I don't know what to tell you. I just hope you wake up and can adjust some of it. Well, I don't know if the negotiations are going to manifest. That's one of the things that's been coming up. That we don't know if the negotiations are going to manifest. No, they just need to stay away. That's pretty much it. And then life would have taken off. Again, they're there to stop life and to kill and maim and tear down. Thank you, Mary. Nothing to stop all of you. Yeah, they're trying to tell me I have to stop something, and then they would have let me have a life. Or, I mean, they're nuts. They just need to go. Projecting all day long. Those sickos. Again, I've spoken over the years how a lot of what's going on in this world is not going to be in the spiritual account of the people that it's affecting, or that it's effectuating from. You're devils and you're possessing people. You do it physically, psychologically, and metaphysically. Well, they're just going to keep talking, I guess, all day inside. And I want us to keep receiving their inferences, and God will deal with it. So I'm not sure. I got appointments today. I kind of wish I didn't, but tried to clear the calendar, but it just got really weird. So the LDS people, they pass muster. They seem honest. So I wonder where those missing children are. I did my best to highlight it. Apparently, Trump administration was going to find some missing children. That's weird. I saw some people at 3HO and Yogi Bhajan people that are no longer part of something. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Strange world, I'll tell you that. No, I've never said that everybody has to go to jail. I just said stop harming people. Right. You're the ones that play a game with jail. 100%. It shouldn't have happened to me. Obviously, it took a lot of years of work for me to not be able to keep myself healthy. No, it's not simple aging. It's one of the bullshit things they use. Like, well, I had regimens that what do they? Now they're willing me to sign off. So you see, they're testing their possessive capability on something that I normally wouldn't even think about. Actually, well, they get, if I sign off, they get all titillated. I'm excited. They're able to possess me. This is what these people have been doing with those watch lists for all those years. Well, I guess I probably flip our van and a trailer much earlier and just stayed in it. Well, I should have actually tried homelessness for a while. I didn't live now without a vehicle. I'm too old now. So yesterday was like a test. My my therapist, she didn't break bad, but she just had a different attitude. So the idea is that even the evil people are possessed to a certain degree. but they possess others. Right. So what they're doing is they're projecting something, but they're trying to identify it as an LDS projection, like the LDS church is doing it to me. Right. Right. That wouldn't jive with the people I met. Right. Well, isn't that crazy? Well, that was good. Well, my status still doesn't change. So there's, again, when you look at what's required of somebody, there's scripture that plays in. Right. So you look, like we were chatting yesterday, and there was an older gentleman with us, and from what I can tell, he probably lived a pretty good life. Right. So their scam is they, like yesterday I was going to postpone an appointment. It was like way into the future. I couldn't. I thought I couldn't. Today, they're trying to postpone it today by reversing the polarity. Actually, again, it's part of seeing if they can possess their victim. Where these things are feeding back, you're gonna have to send them back. Be he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten, and with few stripes. For to whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required, and to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. So what's going on is when you look at the LDS covenants and the requirements there, it's gradated upon the quality of life that you have. Even at that point, even at the physical gradation of quality of life. And then there's, of course, psychological and metaphysical. It's like, how well is your life? Right. So I saw the guy yesterday. He was speaking about a lot of things. He's giving glory to God and the Holy Spirit for, giving him the ability to make those decisions. Right. So that was, that was valid. Right. And But I was looking at his life, and he was probably given much. He probably had a pretty regulated life that worked. Again, he goes to church, and everybody welcomes him, and he gets to stay. I mean, that's all I needed was to be able to get to those churches, and they knew it too. They knew if I had gotten to a church, it'd be a lot more difficult for them to do what they were doing and what they have done. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of nasty out here. I think the more I come out here, the more my snot grows in my sinuses. What a day. What a life. I should have never been allowed to do it. Not one iota. Again, they develop psychological methods and say they're investigatory, and they're using them to destroy people and harm people and disable people. So when the audiologist said, "Well, your hearing test in the app is worse than your other hearing test," and when he said that, I agreed because I had already noticed that while taking the hearing test this time, that I realized that I was just really not paying as much attention as I probably should have. You got to remember the deep state's running 24/7. They can sit there in the middle of the night while you're sleeping and curse you and will things on you, will demons into your house. Again, they're commensurate with the watch list. Again, the watch list is supposed to be doing something, but obviously it's not. Or not. It's not only it's not doing what it's supposed to because it's off in other things. Again, fusion centers, watch lists. Again, if you're going to spend $100 million on a parade, cancel the parade and hire a few veterans. I mean, I don't understand what you're all doing. So, my therapist didn't say that none of this was happening. She just realizes it happens, but she says you have to, and this is where not where I have any issue with. She goes, you have to develop strategies to counter it and keep your life together, which I couldn't do years ago. Right? Too much avoidance. Right? But again, I don't know if I could have told her that part. Right? My other therapist, I don't think she could handle the whole. Well, she didn't know what to say. Right? No, she's a graduate of the Dallas Theological Seminary. She has a master's. Well, essentially, what they'll do is they adulterate your life, and then they use scripture to blame it on you. Well, you didn't prepare. Well, I couldn't prepare. Who could prepare with them doing that? Right. Mm. Kind of tired today. I don't know if this bed's working out. I purchased an air bed, thought maybe I could sleep much better. So Amazon is now requiring a lot more checks and balances in its returns. I'm not telling you that, they're unfair in any way. I'm just saying they appear to require some more additional inspection and things at certain places, right, for certain items. But what I think it's going to do is I don't believe it's going to save the money. I think in the long run, it's going to cause people to go other places. And then when there's that reduction in revenue, again, the same thing is what's happening with the Trump people. I don't think the end result is going to be what's being articulated. I think at a certain point, it's just going to all come tumbling down. I mean, I think there'll be some things that'll work off of it, but I think the greater cause will be lost. Well, if you're going to spend $100 million on defense, that's one thing, right? But if you're going to spend $100 million on a parade, that's another thing, right? Yeah, I had to actually fill out a form that was something was going on there as far as the missing paper towels, but they refunded it. Well, I keep moving. Nah, they just need to stay away from me and let me live my life, and things would have taken care of themselves. They're breaking the system that exists to take care of people. Right. That right I just said was an answer to something I was thinking, actually. Because if right, they can adjust by adjusting the EQ in this one hearing aid, they could probably adjust the hearing test if it comes up kind of skewed. It's a digital OTC. I don't know why it took me so long to find these. Because